Hey, friends. So let's look at the second week of April. My name's Malika, part of Malika's Semper Astrology. I have a whole team behind me that helps me with these astrological forecasts. But the second week of April, here's what's going on. April 9th, Mars is entering Aries. This is great for Mars. Mars is at home in Aries. Mars feels like he can really do what he innately came in to do in the sign of Aries. He moves into Aries, like I said, April 9th at 12:36 p.m. Pacific for the rest of the month. So for the rest of April, he will be in Aries. He'll move up to 15 degrees of Aries. The first thing I want to say about this is if you yourself were born with Mars in Aries, so if Mars is in Aries in your own natal chart, you are experiencing your Mars return. If you have Mars in Aries from 0 degrees up to 15 degrees, it is your Mars return month. And so big things can happen. It's a beautiful time to start something, to initiate something, to step into something new, always during our Mars return. Our masculine energy is definitely up. Um, we can feel that drive and that motivation in our Mars return. We can feel anger and rage in our Mars return. We can just get pissed off easily, triggered easily. We're very impulsive and reactionary during our Mars return. So these are all things that, those of us who were born with Mars in Aries could be feeling this month. But for the rest of us, just being under a Mars and Aries sky, this is a time I'm looking at the chart here for when it shifts. This is a time where we as a collective can feel the fire sort of pick up. My dog is barking. We can feel the fire pick up. She's so cute. Um, we can feel the sense of spring has sprung and we're ready to take action. It's such a beautiful time that really lends us direct, bold assertiveness. We can feel the drive, the energy, the motivation picking up when Mars is in Aries above us as a collective, as a community. There's a pickup of energy. We have higher energy at our fingertips. We want to go out and start the garden. We want to plant the seeds. We want to do the things that have been maybe lying dormant or stagnant. We want to bring them to life. So it's a very energizing sort of collective energy. We can be very impulsive and very reactionary. My dog is distracting me. We can be very impulsive, very reactionary. Um, we can have these tempers coming in absolutely under Mars and Aries sky. It does bring in a little bit of impatience. It does bring in the road rage in all of us. But we're quick, we're action oriented, we're inspired, we're motivated. We want to jump in and do the thing when Mars is in Aries, right? Um, the warrior in us wakes up and we're ready to fight what we're passionate about. We're ready to fight the good fight. We have that sort of bravado. We have the wind beneath our wings to step in and do those things that maybe we weren't brave enough to do before. Mars and Aries lends us the energy, the drive, the motivation, the risk-taking sort of energy to step in and being assertive. Some of us can reach burnout when Mars is in Aries simply because we have such intense drive and motivation. There's not really a pause button with Aries. There's not really a rest or even a stop button with Mars and Aries. So just being aware of how this particular transit might affect you. Mars and Aries feels really good for the fire signs. If you have your own Mars in a fire sign, if your Mars is in Leo, if your Mars is in Sagittarius, this feels great. You're right in your element. But if your Mars is in, let's see here, if your Mars is in Libra, if your Mars is in Cancer, if your Mars is in Capricorn, this can be a little bit of a clunky time for you. It can feel like the stop start comes in when it comes to your projects and your goals and what you're going after. So just being aware of that piece here. Okay, and this weekend, I want to speak to this weekend as well, because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the moon is going to be in Aquarius the whole entire weekend. So April 10th, 11th, and 12th. It's a big weekend because the sun is still in Aries and that moon is in Aquarius. And when you put these two archetypes together, we can get in trouble. Aries just boldly goes forth without a lot of forethought. And Aquarius says, yeah, let's do the thing and let's do it quirky and weird and shocking and let's push against something. Let's rebel against something. Let's rebel against the system. Let's riot. Let's tear the whole thing down to rebuild it, right? So when these two are both strong in the sky, it's beautiful energy. It is quite brilliant energy, very motivating, very inspiring, but it can also get us in trouble after the fact. Like we can take really bold action. It's a very pioneering, fiery energy. Um, but it's woven in with rebelliousness. It's woven in with these revolutionary ideas and a lot of independence this weekend. Um, there's not a lot of thought for how our actions with that sun in Aries might affect others. Now, the moon in Aquarius is actually very concerned with the collective, the communities we're a part of. So it is a beautiful weekend to step into any sort of group, social setting, um, where anywhere where there are others, and there are many others, we feel very motivated and inspired by others. And it's a beautiful weekend to also bring your brilliant ideas, your eccentric points of view, your unique perspectives to the group. The group and others are much more open to hearing what you have to say. It's a beautiful weekend for solving problems, for coming up with unique and different ways of coping with things or coming to solutions with things because of that moon in Aquarius. We're very independent. We're extremely independent this weekend, actually. And we can be a little bit detached from emotional content with others or emotional connection with others because we're not really looking for that this weekend. What we are looking for is intellectual connection with others, mental connection with others. A passionate intellect is actually what we're looking for. So, the tears or the heavy emotional content, we're trying to avoid that. We are detaching from that this weekend. And it's all about like, tell me your story. I'll tell you mine. Tell me your ideas. Let me give you feedback. I want feedback from my ideas, so on and so forth. And it's also a time of creating, as far as like the moon, we're connecting on a personal level with others, but we want that unconventional relationship energy. We don't want to do the tried and true. We don't want to do tradition. We don't want to do relationship or connection the way that we've been taught to do it. We really want to come up with our own unique way that really serves ourselves and the others in the group, right? There's a humanitarian sort of presence this weekend as well. So those are the two big things that are coming in the second week of April, and I will be back for the third week of April.